What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Phantom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I'm here with Anthony, Michelle, and Lori, and we are discussing season 2, episode 2 of House of the Dragon. And let me just start this off by saying, just because I have on green, that does not mean I am team green in any way, form, or fashion.
You sure?
None. Absolutely none. Even after the stuff that has happened. No, I'm not team green. I just happen to pull this out to wear to work because it has no sleeves and it's hot as hell in Georgia right now. So, anyway. Who?
Yeah, where you want to start?
I don't like, there is so much I have to say about this episode. I just feel like, they come with the heavy emotional stuff. We're used to that. But good grief, so much of it in the first 2 episodes, I'm like, y'all, I'm going to be dead by the time we get done with this season. There's just so... Okay, where do we want to start? Do we want to start?
I just want to start. I want to start with Daemon Targaryen.
Let's start with Daemon Targaryen.
Okay,
let's start there. Let's start with Daemon. So first, him sitting there with that lame ass smirk on his face. They talking about Jaehaerys. Is that the twin?
Yes.
Yeah, he's sitting there like, he ain't saying a word.
They're trying to figure out what happened.
Right.
Like, we didn't do this. Are you sure you didn't do this, Rhaenyra? No, I didn't do this.
And then she looks at him and she's like, "You motherfucker."
Let's go meet in the bedroom.
Rhaenys already knew. Rhaenys took one look at him, and Daemon was sitting there looking at old dude that was talking. He just kind of turned them eyes this way, like, shit, she looking at him.
All I'm gonna say is that I now say words I never thought I would utter. His acting talents were wasted on Doctor Who. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I no longer see him as the Doctor at all.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Daemon ran the gamut of emotion for the time that he was on screen, because of course we start out the episode with the aftermath of Prince Jaehaerys' murder, going into when Rhaenyra finds out about it, and she's just sitting there dumbfounded. She was like, and they think that I had something to do with this? And they're like, yeah, that's pretty much what they're telling everyone all across the realm. And she was like, but I would not having lost my own child, I would not do that to anyone else, least of all Helena, an innocent,
And then the room was still questioning. They're like, but you sure you were upset?
It was just that one dude. And that one dude.
I didn't do it.
But they were all there when she said, I want Aemon Targaryen. She didn't say nobody else's name.
Nope.
She said Aemon Targaryen.
Aemon Targaryen. And I'm telling you, that dude who was questioning her, even though, yes, he had a valid point.
He did.
But to bring it up right then and there in the way that he did, Rhaenys was like, watch yourself. I was like, okay, let me tell you. We're going to sidetrack off Daemon for a minute. Rhaenys in this episode, like all of season 1, we saw her and Rhaenyra kind of like bumping heads. But when I say this season so far, she has been down for Rhaenyra. She sat there at that table, and like you said in the last episode, Anthony, she acts like a queen. She sat there and she just told him,
she does.
Watch yourself. That dude backed off. I was like, nah, because Rhaenys is like, okay, now that we have pledged ourselves to this queen, we're not about to have no slander. We're not about to have no back talk, nothing. Let me tell you. Okay, going back to Daemon.
And then she calls him out on his bullshit when they're by themselves.
Yeah.
Like, are you just still pissed off about not being, about having your legacy taken away? Like, is this your whole plan to revenge? He's like, no. She's like, really? Come on now. And then you see it though. Then you see that he's like we said last time, he's still bothered by his brother, being killed, in his mind, killed by them.
Mm-hmm.
And then he still probably does feel slighted about not being named the heir.
Yeah. And that's understandable. But I think also too, what we really do see from Daemon in this episode is one, the complexity of his emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Because on the one hand, I think he is still upset that Rhaenyra has the crown, especially because he feels like she's not doing with it what she should be. But at the same time, I think you also see that Daemon is still very fiercely loyal to Rhaenyra.
Mm-hmm.
He does love her. He does love his brother, but it's like these emotions are at war with himself. And Matt Smith played that scene beautifully. Right. Because even when he wasn't saying anything, you could see everything on his face. Like when Rhaenyra said something to him about his stolen inheritance, and he threw that cup or whatever, and she jumped and backed up. When he approached her, I was like, okay, are we about to have another choking moment?
Mm-hmm. But see, he was more upset because she said, because you're using me as a tool. And I think he was like, all that I have done,
all
I really have done for you and myself, though. But all I have done for you and myself, why would you think that? Yeah. However, he wouldn't answer that question.
Right. Do you accept me as your queen and ruler?
Yeah. You want to turn it around.
Yeah.
Right, you want to gaslight me on this one, but that's okay.
But the thing I say about him though is, didn't he in the first season talk about how Targaryens have always been loyal to each other? Like that's the one thing that they do. And I think sometimes that bothered him too, because his brother put all his trust in Otto.
Yeah,
and his father or uncle put all his trust in Otto. It's hard to keep these bloodlines.
His father, Jaehaerys.
Jaehaerys was his uncle, right?
He was the uncle.
So I think he did have that conversation with her about that. About
think so.
Targaryens being loyal, or something to that effect. Like the Targaryen blood is strong no matter what.
But I think that's also that could also be the thing that's really pissing him off about all of this, because if you think about it, I mean, Aegon, Aemon, they all have Targaryen blood too, and they betrayed Rhaenyra. But so there's another thing about Daemon that I want to talk about, and it's not just about his relationship with Rhaenyra, but if you think back to the first episode or last week's episode, we didn't really touch on Mysaria that much, but she does play a significant role in the events that happen in King's Landing. But also just looking at the way Daemon is with her as well, and I think we may have talked about this in the last season, but it's obvious that she was more to Daemon than just, a whore or just somebody for him to get information from. Like, he seemed like he cared about her too, and you could kind of see it when he was talking to her in the last season, when they brought her off the boat, when he went to go talk to her in the cell. There's something about the way Matt Smith does his facial expressions, and I will say it sometimes can be hard to kind of decipher because of the fact that he has the blonde hair and the blonde eyelashes. So you don't really get to see the expressions as well. But him dealing with Mysaria and then him dealing with Rhaenyra, he has a lot of similarities with the way he approaches them, I think, because he loves both of them, even though he probably would never say that to Mysaria. And I think it's kind of obvious with Rhaenyra, but the way he was in this scene, it was, like I said, he ran the gamut of emotions. You can see him being upset. You can see him being sad. You can see him being pissed off. You can see him trying to be loving and trying to be like, look, when Sir Eric brought that crown, was it not I who placed that upon your brow? Like, if I had wanted to take the crown, I could have done that then, and he could have. She was in a very vulnerable position at that point. She had just found out her father had died. She had just lost their daughter. If he really was that cruel and wanted to, I think he could have done it then, and nobody would have been surprised. Mm-hmm. So I do think that he supports her, and I think that he acknowledges her as his queen and ruler, but kind of like Rhaenys said when she was having a conversation with Corlys, he's prideful. He can't let her command him. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, I don't need you to do this for me. I'm the one that's superior. I'm the one who should have been king. But you're the queen, and I'm okay with that. But it's like there's so many buts back and forth because he's conflicted.
You don't have to remind me about it all the time either.
Yeah. That's why you can answer the question. It's like, you're queen and I'm okay with it. But it's not your queen and I'm serving you. He can't.
Yeah.
He can't do that. He can't bring himself to do that.
And I'm going to be the one that sides with him. Like, you told me to do something and I did it, and extra stuff happens. So you're going to have to take that blame too.
He said mistakes happen.
Right, but you can't put that on me though. You're calling me pathetic, but I did what you asked me to do. I went for Amy. However, they got a different kid. Oh, well, I mean, that's, I'm sorry. That's like you tell me go rob a bank and I end up killing people, but all I wanted you to do is just grab $1 million.
I'm just going to push.
Well, you have to take the credit.
I'm just going to push back a little bit. He knew better. He should have hired professionals.
Okay, I will say,
what professionals are we going to find?
But he's got a point. And I thought about that when the scene came when Sir Larys came into the cell, because all it took was him opening that pack and blood was singing like a canary. We were hired by Daemon Targaryen. He paid us half up front, told us that we would get the other half at the end. He was singing like a canary. And I thought about it. Anthony said he should have gotten a professional. But I mean, going back to what Michelle just said, where are you going to find one?
You ask Syria. You ask her. I'm sure she knows.
But she gave the information of who can possibly do this. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing. The thing is, again, this is what Rhaenyra asked for. This is what you wanted. You came in very passionate. You came and looked into my eyes. You know I get shit done, and I got shit done. But I got it done, and there was a mistake made. Mm-hmm. Why am I apologizing? Why should we apologize? Your kid is at the bottom of the ocean.
What's the difference? In the belly of Vhagar.
It's because it's a little kid, and your kid was what? 14? So he just had 13 extra years. At least the little kid didn't know what was happening. The big kid knew he was being eaten by the dragon. So, shit happens. But don't call me pathetic, because I have conflicting feelings, because I'm supporting you. I am dealing with my own struggles of not being chosen, but I'm there to support you in your future. And you asked me to do a task. I fucked up in my task, but you don't have to be all on me like I'm a pathetic human being. I am not. Every time you asked for something, I did it. Okay?
The last time
I'm pushing you there. I'm getting you over the finish line. Mm-hmm.
This my thing.
It's gonna be bloody.
This my thing about Daemon. The last time someone called him out and told him he was kind of worthless and not really good, he went and took Driftmark by himself. So I feel bad for Harrenhal. I really feel bad for what's about to happen to Harrenhal.
Yeah.
Because he went, he put on his armor, he got on his dragon, and he did.
Yeah, because I don't feel bad. Like, I've been here and I've been supporting you. I haven't challenged you. And when I do challenge you, I challenge you in the bedroom, so nobody is actually seeing that I'm challenging you. Everything I'm doing is of support of you.
That is true. That is true.
That's true. I did hire capable people. Yeah. Now, blood, would you want to be tortured? Why am I even going to be tortured? I might as well give them the information. They know who did it.
I'm confused. We're getting off topic here, but why you take the head? Like, I understand you want head as proof, but like, word was going to get out. that the kid was dead, right? Where was going to get out the kid was dead. So why have your secret get caught with the evidence?
It got lost in translation.
No.
I mean, I understand how it's supposed to work, but a professional would have been like, dude, I'm not bringing you back your head.
A professional would have brought back the head, but they probably would not have tried to escape immediately. He would have found somewhere to hide, somewhere to kind of lay low. I mean, like Cheese said, nobody knows those tunnels like he does. Cheese could have gotten them somewhere and said, okay, look, we're just going to sit here until all this hoopla dies down. And then maybe we can try to, go our separate ways, try to get this done. If you already know, first of all, you allowed the queen to leave the room while you were in the midst of doing the act. Now, as we already discussed last week, it's only because of the lack of security, which I am so fucking glad King Aemon brought up, but we'll get to that in a minute. It's only because of the lack of security that they probably even got as far as they did. We don't even know where Cheese was when they found him. But
Cheese was at home with his family. He was off work.
He could have been. But the thing is, why would you immediately try to leave the city knowing that the guards are going to be on high alert? This is not some random joker you killed. You killed the prince of the kingdom.
We said that he can get the job done. We didn't say he was smart. You didn't ask for that. You asked for brutal force because they knew he had to attack Aemon. You didn't ask.
You should have told him what he was supposed to do afterwards. Like, okay, if you're gonna bring me this head, let me tell you what you're supposed to do. But also, I think if it had been Aemon, there may not have been the fervor that we saw as far as them rounding up all of the people, them checking everybody, because Aemon is a grown person. There are some people who probably would have been like, you know what? He got what he deserved because of what happened to Luke. Let's call it even. Let's call it a draw. Let's end this now. And it possibly could have gone that way.
And
maybe not for long. But
they could have thought someone else, because he does spend a lot of time in Flea Bottom.
Oh, no. If it was Aemon, they knew who did it. Here, they really did not know.
Yeah, because who's going to kill a 6-year-old?
Right.
Why?
Yeah, like they didn't know. But then I'm going back to Daemon. I'm going to be Team Daemon today. So then he probably also thought, you know what? I'm not going to feel bad because our kid died when y'all was too busy taking the crown away from my wife and causing her to be stressed out. And she, lost the baby. So he may be you know 2 for 1. I'm on Team Daemon. I'm just trying to help this situation here because it is really bad. Let's try this again. That was really bad and sleazy to kill the little kid. However, you are better off killing the queen.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
actually I can see that.
Yeah, that would have been like, okay, because then it would be like, wow, she's an innocent, but not a little kid.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I don't think that Daemon necessarily said kill the little baby, but I think that what we didn't see off screen was that any Targaryen that you can see and kill, do it as a retribution. I mean, he probably literally didn't say it, but he probably sort of said an eye for an eye, and he meant it. I mean, when his wife / niece says, I want, Aemon Targaryen, she was saying it in grief, but she also was mad because you're right, she lost the baby and she lost her teenage son. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's 2 children within days of each other.
Yeah, because we have to remember all of this is taken from the time of Viserys's death, I think, to where we are now. Mm-hmm. It's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So when his wife said, I want something done. Daemon just got up and said, okay, hold my beer. I'll be right back. And went and got things done because that's what he does. Mm-hmm. I think that she was wrong to really go after him when they were in the bedroom having the conversation, because she needs to understand something. One, her husband's crazy. Two, as her uncle, he's even crazier because of everything that he grew up with in the castle, being displaced as the heir. If he wasn't her ride or die, he would not have done what he did to the baby. I mean, yeah, he may not have answered her, you're the queen. In his mind, as soon as his brother died, they are now cohorts, consorts, whatever it is. Yeah. In his mind, right. Mm-hmm. Yes, as soon as his wife is queen, guess what? His ass is king. That's what he's equating in his mind. Yeah. Literally.
She's probably the only thing that has kept him from taking his dragon and burning King's Landing down.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously.
The Red Key. She's probably the only reason why he hasn't done that.
Not pretty much. Yeah, that is correct.
But I will say this too. Daemon was also the person who, when his brother's baby died, went to the whorehouse and was basically saying, "Yay, I'm the heir again." So, yeah. I feel
but he was drunk though. He wasn't in his right mind.
But the sentiment was, he knew what he was saying. He
has grown from that moment.
And that was 20 something years ago. He was
has gotten over it a little bit. He got over it. Just say it.
That performance was him being over it. Okay,
it was much better, because it would have been much worse if it was 20 years earlier.
This is the same person that when his brother told him that he couldn't divorce his wife, he just went to the area and killed her.
Killed her.
No, because we're not getting into that conversation again, because I don't think he killed her.
He didn't kill her. I mean, he wasn't trying to start. First of all, she was an experienced.
She was the one being
rider.
bitchy to him.
Yeah, she was the experienced horse. She probably
let's stop this. Just go back and listen to our episode.
I'm with you. I'm with you, twins.
Because we had some serious discussion about that circumstance.
But I'm team he did it.
I will say, for that particular scene, I was team Daemon, because I was like, he didn't do that on purpose. She should have shut her mouth. She should have stopped badgering him. She should have stopped. Like, you can only poke a bear so much. And
what did the bear do?
Her horse felt all her energy, and the horse lost it. Lost control,
flipped over, landed on her. He did her a favor, because everything she had in her was broken at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was gonna be he was gonna be accused of it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Point is, she's dead. The point is that Daemon
he won.
Right. He has a very specific mindset when he has a goal, and I don't need to see that child in that. Anyway, my thing is that when Daemon sets his mind to something as an alpha male, he will go and do it. But he also is an alpha male who has an alpha for a queen, understands that when she says go get it, he gets it done, but he does it in his own way. Will they reconcile? Probably. Was that a pretty bad fight? On a scale of 1 to 10 between what they normally go through, it was probably an 8, maybe a 7. But he's still on her side.
She hurt his feelings.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
He said, fuck this place. Let me go get my dragon and go kill some people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that. He's gonna go take care of Hall.
However, when she calls, he's gonna come back.
He's gonna go conquer the Riverlands, and that's gonna be his apology.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Like I said,
but for him, he doesn't really care like what really happens, because he hates that whole side. So if the little kid died, he didn't care. I mean, he really don't care. He really doesn't. He doesn't really care about any consequences.
I think he cares about.
At least Otto is trying to plan for the future.
Okay, because I got a whole shitload of things to say.
Oh, that's a good segue into Otto.
No, not yet.
Pick a character.
Because I got a couple of things to say about Daemon. So I think the thing with Daemon is not that he felt I don't think he really felt bad about what happened to Prince Jaehaerys. I think what he felt bad about was how it reflects on Rhaenyra, because I don't think he really was thinking it through until he was sitting there at that table and she was talking about what it's going to cost her, and her small council was talking about what it was going to cost her in terms of allies, in terms of supporters. And I think that's why he was sitting there like,
really, because he had a smirk on his face like,
I mean, he had a smirk because like everything that we have done, and y'all had to still sit there and try to decipher who it was who did it. It was kind of like what Aegon said.
When y'all know it was me. It's almost like y'all know it's me. I'm just waiting for y'all to call my name.
Just like when Otto was like, the people responsible, and Aegon was like, really, like we don't already know who is responsible for this. Now, granted, he thinks it's Rhaenyra because Rhaenyra's in charge, but anybody with half a brain cell would know that it was Daemon. But of course, this man was grief stricken. And like literally almost everything that Aegon did in this episode, I don't really fault him because of what he just went through. But
no, there's some faults in there too. But we gonna get to that with the character.
For the most part, anyway. But yeah, okay. And I think when he realizes what it's going to do to Rhaenyra, because at this point, yes, now she can question whether or not you have her back or not, because you didn't think this through to say, okay, if they did this, this is what's going to happen. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think he was sincere when he said that was not his intent. He could have just meant, when he said a son for a son, he could have meant, okay, if you can't kill Aemon, go kill the king. That could have been on his mind. He probably wasn't even thinking about those little ones. But of course, they happened to bump into Queen Helena, and the babies are right there. And Blood was like, well, he said a son for a son. There's a son.
But honestly, let's really honestly dig deep. Do you really think Daemon cares? Really? We trying to make him care, but really? Because really at this point, he's okay with getting on a dragon and burning everything alive. He really don't care. Because what he wanted didn't happen. I'm gonna help her get there, but I really don't care about all the other things that happens around. Like, really think about the things he has done. Does he really care? What he does care about was his brother and his niece/wife. And his girlfriend.
He barely taught his daughters.
Okay, so that's the other part of Daemon that
I'm gonna in my mind, I'm gonna use like the book. He does care about his daughters. It's just how they portraying it on the screen.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So he does care about the kids.
They cut all that stuff out.
Yeah, so we're gonna go with, in my mind, he cares.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just he was upset at the time. He didn't want to deal with his daughter. Just had an argument with his wife.
So that's the thing. Okay.
But really, does he really care? Like, I don't think he cares. I feel bad. He mostly, like you said, I feel bad that we're going to lose allies and I have to regain the allies. But I really don't care about the feelings of the king, the queen, and that a kid was involved. That is just a consequence of war.
It's collateral damage. No one better than that when the mountain smashed the baby up against the wall.
Oh.
You know?
Oh, damn, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did.
No one better than I. And he was Lord of the Harrenhal. Like, no one better than I. He did it. You know,
okay.
Tywin basically was like, oh, okay. All right, moving on. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I don't think he cares in that. I think he cares about the other things about her and her allies, but the baby. What Aegon thinks, the queen.
I don't think he
What people will put on his name. I don't think he cared if it was on his name.
I'm sorry, I just had a thought. It was very similar to Robert saying kill all the Targaryens. I mean, I don't think he literally meant kill babies, but
who? Robert?
Robert. Because that's what the mountain did. They killed all the children too.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
You can't leave the kids alone.
He sent assassins after Daenerys when she was a baby.
Yeah, so and
I guess there was no
that either.
I guess there was no misunderstanding. Well, I don't know if he envisioned the mountain smashing them all.
No, maybe a peaceful death, but not a smash them against the wall.
No, if you are familiar with anything about the mountain, and this was before he became a glorified zombie, then he's about violence. Peaceful. Yeah, so but anyway, going back, real quick, the thing with Daemon and Baela, them kind of passing through each other in the halls, and she says something to him. She just says "father," like asking him a question, and he just ignores her and keeps on walking. I was like, second season of the show, this is the first time we have seen him even really interact with her as an adult child, even though she's technically a teenager. But the last time we actually saw any interaction between Daemon and his girls was when he was reading one of them a bedtime story when Rhaenyra was still alive. So something about the way, and I don't know if maybe they're just doing that to portray him as kind of hands-off or standoffish. It's just really weird because we see him that way with his kids, but we don't see him that way with we didn't see him that way with like Luke and Jace. And I can only really say Luke and Jace because honestly, we don't really see young Joffrey very much. And then the other weird thing is how they have a bit of segregation between Rhaenyra's own kids, because you never see her, and maybe it's to kind of separate or not make it so obvious about the parentage, but you never see her dark-haired kids and her blonde-haired kids in the same room together. You never see them interacting as siblings. You notice that? Because I think even at Luke's funeral, the younger two weren't there.
Yeah, and I don't think they're trying to say anything. I just think it's just the age gap. Like, we barely see the young kids. I forgot about them. Like, how many kids do they have together, honestly?
In the show? Just
they have two.
Just
because they said this was their sixth pregnancy, the first three, then the two, and then the girl would have been the sixth baby.
Okay. So they only have two together.
Yes.
On the show now, they just have two.
But they're going to have two more?
She's supposed to have a daughter.
Oh.
They're supposed to have four altogether.
I thought they were supposed to have four.
They're supposed to have another one.
Yeah, they're supposed to be four altogether.
Like four living.
Yeah, two boys and two girls. The girls will come later.
Yeah, okay. So, I guess that means they get back together.
I want to remember that because I don't remember that. But anyway, that's
because I saw that on the family timeline that they have four, but that's why I was like, where are these kids?
Because it was 5, they have 6 pictures, 2 of them had X's in it.
Yeah,
and the other 4.
Okay,
and it's in the book. It's and when they're doing and the Begotten, that the Maester's doing the book, it mentions the kids. So yeah.
So we don't even know where I don't even know what the kids are, but like these two kids, they popped out of nowhere, but they only popped in because we got to see her interacting with the young kids because she feels so deep and hurt about what happened to her
sister-in-law,
her nephew,
nephew.
Yes.
Oh God, that is her nephew, isn't it?
Yep, that's her nephew. Yeah, to piece that real quick. Her nephew. So, but I think the only reason why we don't see them connect is the age part.
Okay.
And they're out in
because we're in wartime, so the older kids are doing things. So the younger kids with the wet nurse and nanny. So
Jaehaerys ain't doing shit now because he was like, "Let me take Vermass to go shoot." No. She was like, I already lost one son. No, you just gonna stay here and you just gonna be here. We're not having this conversation. But so before we go talk about the Greens, let's finish talking about the Blacks, because I want to talk about this interaction between Jace and Baela, which nice. I'm so glad we finally got some screen time with them where they're actually conversing and acting like, oh, they might be a couple that's betrothed and this might become important later. But I thought it was very lovely for him to be able to talk about both of his dads without the judgment of everyone else. And, you know, granted, we know that's not supposed to be anything publicly known, but the fact that she felt like she could broach that subject with him and he didn't take it the wrong way, he didn't get scared, he didn't get upset, which to me kind of indicates that they may have had this conversation before. But I like that we are able to see them kind of interact and see their different points of view, because she says it, you know, again, this is her one interaction she's had with Daemon in years that we've seen. And she was like, sometimes I think I hate him. And he, instead of chiding her, instead of being like, why or whatever, he's just like, I think with fathers, it can be difficult. And it gives him an opportunity to talk about both of the dads that he clearly loved, you know, without having to worry about all of the political noise. But, you know, that's also probably got to weigh heavily on him as well, even though it's not his fault. But, you know, he has to sit here and think, none of this would be happening if Rhaenyra Velaryon was our real father. Nobody would be questioning Rhaenyra. They would have no reason to go through all of this war. And then for his brother to die in the midst of all of this, you got to think that kid's feeling some kind of guilt.
Right. Along with, also, if your grandmother was queen, we wouldn't have to be dealing with none of this either. But, you know.
Yeah. Things might
I got to throw that in there one good time.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean,
queen.
The queen.
But it was a sweet moment, because she never said, you know, about dad. She said my uncle and strong.
Yeah, and then
whatever you want to call father and daddy, that's up to you. But
right, and she even reassured him, because he was like, I think he loved him. I think he loved us. And she was like, of course he did. Like, why is that even a question? But I kind of like that in the moment of all of this drama, you do get to see that one sweet little moment between them, because they're probably not going to have moments like this from this point on, because at this point it's about to be full on war. Like, there's been death on both sides now, like truly horrible, unjustified deaths. So it's about to be war. So it was kind of nice seeing that one little piece of peace, especially coming so soon after watching Rhaenyra and Daemon just basically go at each other. You know,
and it also shows us that they've been there, so that they actually been having moments in time together
that we just haven't seen.
Like all four kids when all of, you know, before the death, but like they all been there, so they all have had time to hang out and spend and kind of grow together.
Yeah,
so they've been stuck on Dragonmount.
So
but I do want to see what's going on with Lena's character, because the only thing we saw of her in the last episode was her in grief, because, you know, she was the one that was betrothed to Lucerys. So you see her at the funeral crying, you see her in the throne room crying, and that's literally all we've seen of her. So I do hope we get to see a little bit more of them, because I do know that they both also play a part in this war. I don't remember how big of a part, but even just in this episode, Rhaenyra asked her to take her dragon and go kind of monitor King's Landing, because she needs to know what's going to happen next. And she was like, I'm counting on you. I'm depending on you. And Baela's like, I won't let you down. But what about my father? And she was like, he's got to choose his own path now. I don't know if I feel like her and Daemon are going to, like, I don't know if I feel like they're gonna be back together. And it's possible they may, especially if they had a couple more kids, but we kind of see in the series they're not really sticking to a lot of the canon with this, or if they do, they're kind of throwing it out there, like Otto's mention of Daemon in this episode. I know a lot of people who aren't familiar with the books or the story, they're probably like, who the fuck is Daemon and where did he come from? But yes, they have another son who is in Old Town. He's at the what do you call that place where the Septons go?
The Citadel?
Yes, I think he's there. So yeah, so there's another son there. So if they're gonna bring the other kids of Rhaenyra's into this, then maybe they'll get back together, but I don't know what purpose it would really serve, because she already has these kids that we don't really see on screen. Adding 2 more to the mix that we're probably also not going to see on screen just doesn't really make sense.
And not significant either. Like the two young, the next 2 don't really have that much significance.
Yeah, I don't think so. So,
okay. But it has significance to me because it shows that they make up.
When he conquers the Riverlands and gives that to her, they'll be good.
That's the same thing Rhaenys said. When he conquers Harrenhal, maybe she'll forgive him then.
Yeah. He'll be good. They'll be
but
good.
I mean, it's gonna have to be a big thing, because that little quote unquote mistake that you made,
it did
literally cost someone their head. So yeah, that's not gonna be a just, oh, I'm sorry. You got to do something big.
Do something big.
Look, you might need to conquer Harrenhal and kill Aemon. Maybe both of those things together would be like, oh, okay, that's the olive branch I needed. But okay, so we're gonna go
spin the wheel
to the red. We're gonna go, especially since I talked about the head, because I gotta say this: that funeral scene, I was so scared when that cart stopped.
That baby I was too. I was like, this head is about to roll to the ground.
Oh my God, especially because when the cart is rolling, like, I know that there's some shaking, but the way that head was shaking more than the body, I was like, I don't know if I can watch this.
Don't do this.
And then when they got stuck, and they were rocking it to get out there, I said, oh Lord, he's gonna roll off.
I was watching like this because I was like, I don't want to see this. Like, I talked about it last week. I didn't need to see y'all cutting this baby's head off. The fact that y'all showed us his funeral and showed us the stitch. I truly felt Helena's pain in those scenes, and even Allison's. And I'm gonna start talking about the greens with this. One of the things that I will say that we see with these greens, you really see a difference in the parenting styles of all the parents in this scene, and you see how it differs. Like, Otto is immediately in political mode. He's in hand mode. Like, you don't even really see him mourn for this great grandchild of his. He's talking about, oh, this might be an advantage to us. Oh, we're gonna get them, and that's probably about the extent of his emotion involved. He even has to say during the small council meeting, let it not be said that I do not grieve. Dude, the fact that you even have to quantify that, because nobody sees you grieving, all we see you doing is plotting and calculating. No wonder your family is fucked up, because you created all of this.
Yeah, but his job is to not.
Right, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, yeah.
His job is, okay, I got to compartmentalize. I'll deal with this grief later. But let's, politically, I'm behind. Let's use this to our advantage. Everybody, someone got to keep a level head.
Right.
Someone's got to keep the eye on the prize. And that's what the hand does. The hand keeps everything level.
Yeah. He has to cry. He has to cry at night in the bed, in the bathtub. He can't do that work. You can't do that work.
He can't. He can't do that. He may not be able to do it later. I know we're not supposed to go back, but what happened when Ned the Hand got his emotions involved? Or John Aaron, when he let his emotions get involved? You can't let that get in. You can't be emotionally in that position.
Because what happened is you're weak, you cause the king to be weak, and that's when someone can come in and do the most damage.
But I mean, and I do understand that, but I mean, give the man an hour or two to get through his grief. Don't sit there while he's railing and emotional and screaming and crying and literally talk about using his dead child as a prop, using it as a no.
But again, someone has to keep the king on track.
Let it be one of those other motherfuckers in the room that's not related to that child. That would be different. And
they're not the ones with all the power. They're not more the power.
Okay, but what I'm saying is give the man some breathing room. You could have tabled that discussion for an hour, because maybe if you had tabled that discussion for an hour and let the king get everything he was feeling out so that he could have a clear mind, maybe what happened later with you losing your position as the hand, maybe that would not have happened, because he's not looking at you thinking, you know what the fuck are you here for?
No, he was gonna lose it.
It is because
Larry's had already put that seed in his head already,
and he's that younger generation that believes in we need to do something now than actually wait.
And that's what Otto was trying to avoid.
Like, let's wait and grieve and process, and then we figure out how to move forward. That's all he was trying to do. Like, I know you're upset. This is what we're gonna do just to show that she did it. But before we, let's figure out what we're going to do. No, he wants action. He like, Daemon, I want it now. I want it now. So yeah, he was going to fire his grandpa. Because grandpa is waiting. He's strategic.
He's playing the long game. He's trying to win this war with as little bloodshed as possible. Because first of all, both sides got dragons. That's not good for the kingdom. Nobody. That's not good for nobody. A lot of people are gonna die.
Like, fast forward, one of your relatives.
I know we keep coming back. We keep coming back to Game of Thrones, but yeah,
she burned it down.
She just had one.
Correct.
Imagine what 5 dragons on this side and 6 dragons on this side is gonna be.
All in a war. So yeah.
But going back to parenting styles again. So I've been seeing a lot of chatter online, and I've been trying to avoid a lot of stuff, but there's so much of it out there. And a lot of people are upset with Alicent because she didn't comfort Aegon when she walked into his room, and they're like, oh, she went to go fuck Sir Kristen. That was more important to her than her son. And I did not look at that scene like that. Like, if it's one thing that you see with Alicent in this episode, I feel like we see her more as a mother than we have in past episodes, because literally, while again comparing her and her father, every time she's talking to Otto, or every time Otto is speaking, he's always talking about the boy, the child. He's referring to Jaehaerys as an object. Whenever Alicent is talking about him, when she talked about him to Helena, when she's talking about him to anybody other than her dad, he's Jaehaerys. It's only when she's talking to her dad that she refers to him kind of like an object, kind of like similar to the way that Otto refers to him. But you see the way she is being very attentive to Helena with all of this going on. Her trying to comfort her, you see her breaking down because of what happened to the child. I think when she goes in to see Aegon, this is after the confrontation he has had with his grandfather, where he has pretty much taken the position of being the hand from Otto and given it to Sir Kristen Cole of all fucking people, which again we will get into. But I think Aegon's response, or Aegon's reaction in that scene when he's crying, I don't think it has anything to do with all of that. He's grieving for his son, but also he's sitting there like really twisting around with this ring that's on his finger that belonged to his father. And I think it was the things that Otto said about Viserys and how he's nothing like Viserys, and how I think what was the thing that he said? My dad chose me, and Otto laughed at him. He was like, "You really think that?" And I mean, you're basically telling this king that you wanted to put on the throne that he doesn't measure up to his father. And as much as those kids couldn't stand Viserys, that's still their dad. They still want validation from him. And we saw that in the last season with Aegon when he was on his way to coronation, because he felt like Viserys didn't care about him. He was like, yeah, he didn't love me. He didn't want me to be king. And Alicent was the one that was sitting there trying to convince him that that was wrong. So when she walks in and she sees him going through this, I think her instinct is to go over and comfort him. But also with the type of personality that Aegon has, I think in that moment, he would not have welcomed it. And he probably would have shunned her at that moment. And sometimes you just have to know when to leave people in their own grief and back off and give them time to themselves, because again, time to mourn the way that everybody else was trying to, or that he should have. You know what I'm saying? He's immediately, okay, you're the king, you got to make these decisions, we got to go to war, we got to do this, we got to plan this funeral, he has not had time to really let this sink in yet. And I know a lot of people were giving hate online to Alicent, like she can't even comfort him and stuff. I think as a mother, she probably did the best thing that she could do for him in that moment, which was to let him be and let him get it out his system. And to me, that shows her being more of a mother than we've seen of her in these this last season and couple of episodes.
Well, back to Otto real quick. We were talking about parenting styles. I can't call anything Otto does as parenting, because it seems like he's been playing the game so long that everybody is a piece on the board.
Mm-hmm. He hasn't had time to be a parent because he's been at work.
Right, but even at work, you can still kind of be a parent, but like you can't if everybody, his daughter was a piece, his grandsons are pieces,
right?
Viserys was a piece. Everybody is pieces on the board. The game he's been playing with Daemon all of Daemon's life, everybody is a piece on the board to him. So he doesn't have any. That goes back to
he doesn't know how to parent, because one, he is constantly stuck at work. Mm-hmm. He is constantly in work mode. He has never switched back into I'm a father, which then goes back to Alicent. I'm going to push back some. I think it's both. Like, I agree with some of the things people saying and some of what you're saying. I think she doesn't know how to really be a parent because she's never been parent. Yeah. And I think going into, like, she really did have a difficult time. It looked like she was comforting her daughter, but she wasn't. She didn't give her what she needed, because she's just assuming that it's just dealing with the son. It was much more than that. See, now I'm going into, she like has some social anxiety. It was a lot going on, and she really wasn't as comforting that it may look like. But with him, I think when she saw him, she realized, I don't have it to give. I don't know what to give him, and I don't have it to give. I gave as much as I could to my daughter, but I don't have anything for my son. I don't know in the world what could possibly comfort him. So the best thing for me to do is just to walk away and hope it works out, because I don't know.
Yeah, but the way that
she didn't know what to do.
Yeah, because the way that they treat the boys and the girls, especially in this type of world, is so different. And I think, we see that later on with Aemon in the whorehouse. Like, these two boys were raised to be the heir and the spare, so to say. if you think about it. Not by Viserys, but by Otto. Otto, and through Alicent, you know, that's how they've treated them. Like, oh no, you guys are going to be the ones that are the heirs because you're the males. You're the males. You're the males. So set on having a male child, you're going to be the heirs. And the way the society treats men in this time period, you can't, like what Aegon was doing, you don't have time to sit down and like break down. You don't have time to sit and think about your actions, your consequences, the things that's happening to you. They don't coddle the boys like that back then. So you might be right. She may not have known what to do with him, because she probably was told not to coddle him, not to, you know,
she didn't even know what to do with her daughter. So I agree with that, with how they treat them differently, but she's not even capable with her daughter, to be honest with you.
Well, I will say this too.
But she did her best. I'm not saying that she tried, but at that point, she was past her point. Like, I always talk about, you're to the point where you don't have the capacity. She was done. She's been all day trying to give as much as she could to the daughter. She had nothing left.
Yeah. And also because she had told Otto, she was like, I don't want to ride behind this child's body. I don't want to be a spectacle. And that's exactly what they ended up being.
Yeah. And then you had to deal with your daughter. Like, and then she is not on average your average daughter. So it was a lot, to the point where she is like completely done. I'm like done. However, Rhaenyra has a little bit more that she could, you know, if we comparing, she's a little different with that aspect. But you know what? She was loved differently. She was loved by her dad. Like, she was shown that different, like, how to care for someone. Then Otto's been working. Otto is that parent who you be like, it's 24 hours, 7 days a week. He think he's being a father, but he really isn't. He's in work.
He can't think he's being a father, because
he thinking he is.
If you're pouring out your daughter to a man that's like triple.
But he's trying to make sure that they have a future. So that's what I'm saying. In his mind, he is being a parent in that aspect, because he is providing a future for his line and him a better job and promotion.
Otto's problem is he's considered the lesser of the two brothers. His brother is the one running things in Old Town.
So now he's trying to run things.
He kind of got kicked off to the side, like, you're no good. So he's been trying to prove himself, prove his worth, and outdo his brother. And that's been his goal in life. That's why he's trying to be a kingmaker, because then that can prove to everyone back home that I am worth something. Whereas,
and in his bloodline, like a father, his bloodline is doing it, but he's still working, and he's not doing it.
Yeah, because everyone has a part to play. They're not so important to him.
And she's doing the same thing her dad is doing, almost. Like, you are still trying to put pieces based on what your dad told you to do.
She's trying to play the game too.
And you're playing the game and not realizing that these people that you're playing the game with have emotions. You didn't like the stuff happening to you when you were a young adult, but it's okay that this shit is happening to your kids. You see what I'm saying? You're not even trying to make a change on that.
A lot of people made some poor decisions.
Right. That's why I say I agree with you and some of the things that people are saying about her and her parenting. A lot of people made style. But guess what? I mean, she doesn't know better. Like, she didn't have no mom. You know, it was her dad. So she don't really know how to tend to people, except for Sir Cole. But yeah, whatever.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah, but I mean, I think for me, she at least puts forth the effort the best way that she knows how. Right. It's not like she completely neglects those kids, even like, especially when they were younger. She didn't neglect them. She had the kids with her a lot. she was trying. But of course, if your dad is in there telling you, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, she's of that generation. Who's really gonna defy their dad except for Rhaenyra?
And you don't have good examples, so she doing the best that she knows how to do. Because there's no other families around really that's showing her any difference, so she can make those changes.
Right.
Because of the status that they're in.
Right.
So
now going back to the king real quick, I love it how he questioned Sir Kristen, and he was like, so why was there no guards around my wife and children? And I think somebody else said that about, when Sir Eric questioned Christian Cole. He was like, so Queen Elena doesn't have her own security? Like when she ascended, that should have been a thing. And I was like, finally, somebody else on here is saying it. Like, why was there no security around?
Well, first of all, remember when they all questioned, you're going to make Sir Christian Cole Lord Commander of the Night? Because what was old boy from
Harold Westerling, and I need to know where the fuck Graham McTavish is. Where is he?
You know what? He saw this coming a mile away. He was like, you know what? I don't want no part of this. Deuces, I'm out. He's probably out. He's probably down in the reach somewhere fishing.
Oh yeah, but I mean, flowers. Because he quit when he realized they were going to try to execute Rhaenyra. He was like, oh fuck no, not
And Christian Cole, I'm not saying he don't have the mental capacity. I just don't think he had gotten to that point in his career where he would really know what he needs to do. Like, even if you're gonna do the stuff you're doing with Alicent, you still got to make sure everything else is taken care of.
Yeah, because well, that's the thing. He thought he had, because when he answers the king, he's, when the king says, well, where were you when my son was being murdered? He said, I was in bed after setting the night's watch, meaning after I assigned who was going to be on guard duty that night.
But he didn't assign anyone. He was supposed to be. He was supposed to be. I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be on guard duty. But I bet you if Aegon went around and started asking questions, did Sir Cole have you? Who did he pass it off to? Like, who did he?
The 5 people that were in the throne room with the king, because that's the only person that they were concerned with keeping safe. That was why Sir Eric said what he said to Sir Christian Cole, because he was
I've read enough fantasy novels with royalty in it, and I know enough, even in my sci-fi books, where the king has someone and the heir has someone, always, no matter what. So even if Jaehaerys was in Mama's room for the night or wherever, the heir is supposed to have a guard. Period. That's not even a question.
But I mean, we talked about this last week. The
queen may or may not have had one. That is up for debate. But the heir should always have someone as a guard.
And we said that last week, but the main problem we all had was the fact that Aegon was the only person being protected. And what was, I think it may have been.
So either Christian failed to actually assign someone to protect the heir, or he was the one who was supposed to be there, but he was too busy dicking around doing other things. No pun intended.
I don't know. I know that we said that the heir should have protection, but I mean, even the king was questioning. He was like, so what? Y'all don't have anybody there?
They didn't pay attention. So
if Sir Westerling was there, this wouldn't have even been a question.
So Cole didn't know the protocol. He wasn't supposed to have this job. So he didn't know the protocol. Now he knows the protocol. Okay, everyone, he will get the job done now.
We're going to circle back to Christian about jobs he shouldn't have. We're going to come back to that.
No, we ain't got to circle back. We can go ahead and talk about this motherfucker right now.
Oh, yeah. So
how dare you? How dare you go to Sir Eric and get on him about his white cloak, talking about the white cloak is a symbol of our purity. And when I tell y'all I was screaming and yelling at my TV, the audacity of this fool. You literally got caught with your pants down. And you are questioning the loyalty of probably the most loyal soldier in the King's Guard, aside from the one who is serving in the other in the Queen's Guard, who is his twin.
And then you in charge, and then you want to blame me for not protecting the heir.
Where were you? I was protecting the king.
That's what right was.
Right. And he was like, so it didn't occur to you to come off to come to that level and check. He was like, the king was entertaining his companions in the throne room. That's where I was. Where the hell was you? And then when he asked that question, you throw it back to him. Your brother is a thief and a traitor. You saw how all the other soldiers, they was like, yep, we're not going to be a part of it. They got time to go together and left. Whether it was because they agreed with Sir Christian Cole or whether it was because, oh, you talking about that dude's brother. I don't care if he is a traitor. That's still his brother. That's still his twin. I was like, yeah, they cleared the room real quick. I was really, really hoping to see a fight between those two. But no, Sir Eric is above reproach. He is all about his duty. He is all about loyalty to the crown. And even when Sir Christian Cole questions that and does his little coercion thing to him, he's just like, okay, if this is what I have to do to prove my loyalty to the king, I'm gonna do it. Mm-hmm. He knew he was gonna go to Dragonstone and die.
Yeah, he knew that.
Huh?
Because he did. We said alone. Yeah.
And he was like, what? So you can't do this by yourself? You are you in fear? He was like, it has nothing to do with that. He was like, she got guards all around. Look, she got guards all around her.
Yeah, especially now.
Now.
The one thing I will give Cole credit for is I don't think he could take Cole in the fight because from my understanding, Cole is like the number one knight in Westeros right now. Mm-hmm. So I don't like Sir Aerys' chances.
Well, you know what? I don't like his chances, but I would have loved to have seen the attempt because somebody needs to whoop Cole's ass. Yeah, someone needs to whoop his ass.
He needs to go.
Like when I say I want this man to die. Oh, and let me clarify this because there are some idiots that have been acting up on the internet, going to Fabian Frankel's social media and posting hate stuff because of his character. So let me just clarify for people who are listening to this. I am talking about the character of Sir Christian Cole and not the actor. But anyway, I would really like Sir Christian to die a most glorious and painful death. Like, I was talking to my daughter and I was telling her about this because she's not watching the show. I said, there is actually a character on this show that makes me not hate Joffrey so much. And she was like, you're lying. No, I hate this motherfucker more than I hate Joffrey.
Yeah,
and that is saying something.
It's bad.
Like, all the stuff he's doing, you are violating your oath to sleep with the Dowager Queen.
Oh, he felt bad for a day. Just a day. It was just one day. She even had to come out there and say, did you tell anybody? I mean, you want to
He was like,
confess?
what do you take me for? Like, my life would be ruined if he told somebody.
Yeah, but that's how he was acting. He did that before. See, he go back and forth. So she had to ask. And she did.
Either we doing this or we not.
We're right. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? He only lasted a day. And then the next day he's like, yeah, I guess I'm doing it.
Well, I mean, I find it very interesting that you don't want to quote unquote play the whore for Rhaenyra, but you're doing it now for Allison.
You're doing it now
right?
You ain't got no problems doing it for Allison.
None. So
when I say that,
and
man,
if you look up,
yeah,
keep fucking up and getting the promotion, like he's like, oh,
like you literally. You're like literally, you would have been on administrative leave because of this, or actually demoted or fired because you're in charge of making sure everyone is where they're supposed to be, and they wasn't at the most important time.
He would have.
I mean, this is almost like Black Panther.
Honestly,
Whatchamacallit got fired.
Honestly, when they had their next small council meeting, they should have all been like, he's fired. Like, you can't. It doesn't matter
just fired.
what you did.
I don't care that you was a bed.
It was on your watch.
Joffrey, if this had been any one of those kings, he would be dead. They would be like, oh, we're going to go hang you and put your head on a pike as a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's the hand. He's the second most powerful person in the kingdom.
I do like the fact that he did have the good grace to look surprised as fuck when Aegon said it, because he took that step back like, your grace, like, are
like
you?
I'm not the most smartest thing here. Like I'm physical.
No, he knows what he is.
I'm physical, but I'm not smart enough to do this. I mean, I just came up with a solution that was stupid.
Right. And I love the fact that Sir Otto was like going off, and he was like, watch how you talk to your grace. Your grace is my grandson, and my grandson is an idiot. I was like, okay, this is Tywin Lannister on 100. Tywin, whenever he was going off on Joffrey, he was just, he was calm. But that knife was still going in. He never raised his voice. He never got emotional. Even when he was pissed off, he never went off. Otto was like, oh, this is when I'm going to get emotional. You couldn't get emotional over the death of your grandchild, but your grandson stringing up the people or persons that he thinks has something to do with his death. Oh, yeah, that's what sets you off. Because Aegon, what happened was, when Blood got captured, he confessed that he had an accomplice, a rat catcher. Didn't know his name, didn't know anything about him. Now, he could have told him that he had a dog, and that would have kind of narrowed it down for everyone. But apparently he didn't do that. So what Aegon does is, all of the rat catchers that are employed by the crown, he takes them, he hangs them, and strings them up on the castle gates. This is what sets Otto off, because he's like, these are fathers and brothers and sons, and their wives and children are out there at the gates, and we had lured them all to our side of the cause, and now you've lost them again. Really? This is what you're worried about? Like,
and I feel like he was emotional too. It's because he probably sat back and he's looking at this boy, and everything that I have worked for is relying on idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Just complete idiots. My daughter is smart.
But you knew your grandson was an idiot before you put him on the throne.
I know, but then when you see it in action, like, that's why he was so emotional about it. It was because why?
It's that realization
for this.
It's like the realization I'm surrounded by idiots.
This conversation,
you were surrounded by idiots the whole time,
or 2 days ago, whenever the timeline is. I had a conversation with Alison about, we just got to get him through this, and we can control him. But I don't think we can control this. You're probably thinking this is madness. This is I could have just, sucked up to Rhaenyra and just beat her hand at this point. Like, this was some crazy shit here. Like, I am dealing with morons.
But this is the situation you created.
I did, and I'm mad. I'm mad. I did create this situation. I'm truly, I fucked up, and I don't even know how to fix this.
You really, in the beginning, you really could have made it where you figured out a way to have Rhaenyra marry Aegon and just call it a day.
Yeah, but I really thought my
that's what he could have done.
I really thought my grandkids would just be smarter. Like, my daughter was smart. We went in with a plan. She executed the plan, and she's still executing the plan. But what is this?
It's like Hanako said. What
is my offspring doing?
He knew Aegon was an idiot.
Yeah, but we thought we can fix it.
When Viserys died and you had to go search for this boy because he didn't want to be king, and he went and got drunk and hid in Flea Bottom. Was it Flea Bottom that he was hiding in? Because he didn't want to be king. That should have been your indication right there. You could have been like, oh, y'all could have said, you know what? The king, Aegon is unfit to rule. You could have given it to Aemon. Aemon probably would have been a better king.
He probably thinking that too. Like, I literally could have had them kill Aegon in Flea Bottom. And then Aemon could have been the king. Like, I should have.
No, Aegon was hiding in the church.
He was in church?
When they found him, he was
in the church. It don't even matter.
But he had
assaulted the girl too. It's like I should have just had him killed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And Aemon could have been. I mean, we know what his issues are. He's least smart. He just wants revenge. I could have gave him his revenge.
I think Aemon thought about it. Aemon thought about killing him though. I think he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But as his grandfather, I should have said you should have did it because we wouldn't have been in this mess.
Right.
And that's why he's so emotional. And not the death of his grandchild is. I mean. It's great grandchild. I am surrounded by effing morons, and we have a goal to complete.
Right.
And now I don't even know how this looks. I mean, you hire Sir Christian Cole. Who
did you see the look on his face?
Like, what college did he go to? Like, what? He
was like. He said Sir Kristen has already put a plan in place, and Otto was looking like,
oh my God.
It was the meme that I saw, the meme of Ben Affleck sitting there with the cigarette, like, oh shit, it was that meme. That was the look Otto had on his face, like, and then he was like, and what has Sir Kristen done? Like, what has this idiot done?
And then he hears this and he's like, here we go. Here we go.
You idiot. Both of you are idiots.
Idiots. Just idiots.
Oh, because then he said, oh, and you see him alone?
Oh. Like, I have to say, I kind of, in that particular moment, though, I kind of felt both of what Otto and Aegon was saying, because Aegon was like, I don't give a fuck about the long plan. I want my revenge. As a parent, I would probably want the revenge too. You came in and you killed my child. Not just killed my child, you decapitated my child. Nah, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get back at whoever was responsible for this. I feel that. I feel Aegon on that. I do. But also, let me tell you, Otto had me rolling because he was going off. And I was like, but he's not wrong. But he's not wrong. But he's not wrong.
Yeah. It was just madness. That's why he got so emotional.
But he got emotional.
And he was nice though. Cause he was nice. I mean, he has the boy now doubting. His dad wanted him to be king.
That's true, yeah.
He should have full out said, no, that was your mama and me. Let's be clear about this.
But he doesn't know because he was also going off of what Alicent said.
No. He knew. He knew Viserys. He knew that he was never going to change. He knew Alicent heard what she wanted to hear. Okay? He knew that. And it just helped him in his cause.
Because I think he said before, my father didn't want me to be king. I think he had said that.
He said that he said that in the carriage on the way to the coronation.
Yeah, but we pushed him to feel like he did. But Otto knew, I know my friend. My friend really wanted his daughter to be it. We can circle around, but we did what we did. Yeah. Allison heard what she heard. She could be lying, or she made up something in her head. But I know for a fact he wanted his daughter to be the queen.
This man drug himself out of the bed, half dead.
Thank you.
To tell everybody, why are we even questioning?
Why are we here? Didn't we have this discussion already?
And let's not do this again.
Yeah.
However, the man is dead. We're going to do this again. And I gave it to an idiot.
Otto rolled the dice. He rolled the dice.
Because the thing is, he realized too, like, to be honest with you, stuff does happen. And in war, kids, family members, your community is going to go down, or just things happen. He has to learn how to handle himself. And yes, I'm sorry, he is above being himself. He has to be the king. And he realized, like, he doesn't have that.
Well, human nature is unpredictable.
It is.
Otto is really good at predicting how people are going to react to situations.
Right.
But
they will have some type of common sense.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't common sense to kill all the rat catchers, all of them, and then post them. But you don't post them out there. You may just kill them and let their family members, like, where are they? They're missing. No, you kill them all. The person who just joined to the person who's been there for 20 years. I mean, we all going down because of one person.
Right.
What if there was 30 of them? That means he killed 30 men for one and posted it outside.
And all Blood had to do was mention the damn dog, because the dog was sitting right there looking at Cheese.
Or he was so forthcoming, just march them all in and say which one was it. And look at it like that one right there. There you go.
No, because Aegon got to Blood first, remember?
No, I'm saying that's part of the idiocy. That's part of it.
You don't let the king go in there first. You didn't say, oh, it was rat catchers. Let's get all the rat catchers who work here.
Especially bringing him in front of the person who was caught with the child's head. That was not a smart move. That was not. Like, I expected more from Sir Larys, but Aegon probably demanded, because you saw when Sir Larys came in and said, hey, we found a suspect and he had the child's head. You saw Aegon was making a beeline, and Kristen had to, like, literally stop him, like, no, you can't do this yet. Let me go handle this.
Yeah, let's question the man some.
Just a little bit.
Just a tad. That's why he said idiots and morons. It's like, you clearly, like, Aegon clearly even hired someone who is not, like, had no practice. Like, none. You hire someone for a job description that they ain't do nothing for that job description. I'm getting upset.
That's how you got the job as Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. He didn't have the resume for that either.
But I was gonna say, in a sense, the way that he handled it could make sense, because if you're talking about, somebody was a new rat catcher, they had just got on the job. They could look at it as, oh, my son got murdered as soon as you got here.
Right, but you can at least, like, I don't know, torture all of them first.
You can't. It's very hard to justify killing them all.
Like, you killed them all. Like, you killed, like, the old man probably who could barely see. Like, you killed them all.
You killed the one who just kills the rats in the toilets.
Like you killed them all. Like,
yeah.
You killed the one whose job was just to catch the rats in the kitchen.
Well, I mean, that's a valid point. But see, here's the other thing that I immediately thought of is that, okay, you've got Otto, who's no longer the hand. You've got, now, I'm stealing this from a different show. I'm not going to name the show, but they call Sir Christian Cole BBL Chrissy. So I advocate as that as a name to use. So Chrissy, I'm just going to use Chrissy, was named the Hand. Now, remember the first episode, what was it? Sir Larys, the other guy, the one that said, hey, old guy's been the Hand for 3 kings. Don't you think that in the next episode, he's going to be a little pissed to find out that he lost the job he was trying to get?
No, I don't. I think I agree with what Anthony said in the last episode. I don't think Sir Larys wants to be the Hand because that's too much attention. And Sir Larys is one of those people that likes to operate in the shadows because people aren't paying attention to him. You know, most of the people probably are looking at him like, oh, he's weird. He's a cripple. They have that kind of mindset. So they don't pay him any attention. And I think he prefers it that way, kind of like what Anthony said, because you can do all your machinations and nobody is going to think, oh, Sir Larys, because he's invisible to everybody.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think he might have, I will say this, he might have made that suggestion with the hopes that it will be Kristen Cole. Because again, I think Larys knows that Kristen and Alicent are fucking, and he's probably going to try to use that to his advantage. Yeah, like it's nice to have a Hand of the King when you know his dirty secrets.
It does. And that's why he's playing chess along with D&D on the side.
Well, not only that, the thing of it is that you have to ask yourself if he, going back on Haneko's point, if he put the kid up to naming him the Hand, you have to ask yourself, why is he doing that?
Maybe to find a backdoor back. Okay, maybe to find.
Poor choice of words. Don't get that foot stuck in your mouth.
You know what?
Be careful with that.
Maybe to find a way to get back into Alicent's peripheral. You know, right now he doesn't have as much of a hold on Alicent as we saw him last season. So now he needs to find a way to.
It could be that by taking the attention off of him, maybe he thinks that with Cole being the new Hand, he can probably influence him more so than Otto, because he couldn't influence Otto at all. Also, like you said, have the advantage of knowing, what he's doing after dark when he's abed. I'm using air quotes. Could help too, but at the same time, maybe this is a stopgap measure because maybe he has someone else in mind who is completely under his thumb. Because let's face it, when a Hand becomes the new guy becomes the new Hand, usually there's an interim or a short term before they get to the real person who will be the Hand. So I don't think that Chrissy's going to be the Hand long. I think it's a stopgap measure because he probably has someone else that he really wants to put, and he's thinking this is a good way to get him prepped, because he can say, well, Your Majesty, the King's Guard, he gave you counsel, but he may not be as learned as you need for the Hand. So while you have him here, how about this guy over here? Look at his resume. He's good. And get him in. I mean, just a theory. Just a theory.
I like your theory, but I don't really think Larys thinks like that. If anything, I call Otto great value Littlefinger.
No, I think you called Larys great.
Larys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna change that because it really does seem like he's willing to just like burn everything down just to come out on top.
Who, Otto?
Larys.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
because you take Otto out of the equation. Otto might be the only person who, I'm not going to say is smarter than him, but might be the only person that can kind of maneuver around. Now with him out of the way, Christian Cole and Aegon together trying to do this war.
Dumb and Dumber.
Right. They're just gonna go looking in the trailers like, okay, let's take the war to them. I don't think everybody's ready yet. And and it's gonna be there's gonna be some mistakes. People are gonna get hurt, people are gonna die, and it's gonna get bloody. Real
I
fast.
think if it
and
stays that way, if Cole stays as Hand of the King, I don't think either him or Aegon are going to live very long. They may not make it to the end of the season.
If Daemon's going to take Harrenhal, Daemon takes Harrenhal, and they have the Riverlands. That's game set match. Like they have the Riverlands, they have the North. The Reach is probably the Reach is not even involved. Dorne is not going to be involved. It's going to be all kinds of issues.
Yeah,
all kinds of issues, and I don't know if I don't think. I think that's why Otto was trying to play it slow, because he knows that at best it's even.
Yeah.
And the thing that tilts the scales is the dragons. And right now they don't have as many dragons as the blacks. And that could be a problem.
Right. And he was waiting for that news, to spread about Rhaenyra the Cruel and what she quote unquote did in order to turn some of the people that are Rhaenyra's allies over, to the Greens. And now I think, that's when he's realizing Aegon messed this up.
Yeah. Because if you take all of her political power, then she doesn't have a reason to go to war. And you can go to her and be like, okay, you stay in exile on Dragon Mount, have your family do this, do that, and we'll take care of the Seven Kingdoms. You know what I mean? If you can get most of the lords on your side, then the other lords are like, this is a war we can't win.
Yeah.
And they just back out, And I think that's the game Otto was playing.
I mean, he was playing the long game, as he said, but also I found it very interesting that as much manipulating and machinations that Otto has done throughout the last however many years, I find it very interesting that when he spoke of Viserys, he spoke of him with such reverence and talking about his best virtues. He said, he was like, do you not think of your father, his dignity, his, all of these things that he's saying about Viserys? And I'm like, but those are the things that kind of irritated you about him when he was alive. And maybe it's because, like you said, he's surrounded by idiots, but also listening to that.
Him.
Yeah. But also listening to that and the discussion he was having with Aegon, his whole thing, and also his discussion with Alicent, his whole thing is actually similar to Varys, which is he wants peace for the entire kingdom. Now, granted, if he comes out on top with all of that peace, great. But that is his ultimate goal. And he says it several times in this episode where he's like, look, we just need to get through this, do that. And then you and I, talking to Alicent, we can bring this kingdom to a peaceful resolution and be done. And I really feel like, okay, I can see where that's your end game, but it's just all of the things that you did to get there that makes you untrustworthy. So again, I can kind of understand Aegon's not wanting him around, but at this point, if I got to choose between Otto and Cole, oh my, can't believe I'm having to do this, then I'm going to go with Otto, because Otto is the one with the smarts. You call Larys great value Littlefinger, I'm going to call Otto great value Tywin, because they have some of the similar personality traits. They both have the smarts. They both have the eye to see the long game. And they both know how to move those pieces in the game to get that result. The only problem is you have these unstable pieces that you're trying to control that you can't. Tywin had it with Joffrey, and then you tried to kill your other son for a murder that he didn't commit, and that ended up blowing up in your face. So he didn't have the right control over some of his pieces. The same thing with Otto. There's no way you're going to control Aegon. We saw this from the beginning. Aegon is not one that you can control, that you're going to coddle, that you're going to tell him, oh, this is what you need to do, and he's going to do it. We saw that even in that one little session where he was listening to petitions. Otto got up to him one time, hey, we actually can't do this because this, that, and the other, and we have to do this, that, and the other. When that second petition came up, and the king was like, oh, yes, we're going to do this, and these people are important to our cause, so basically looking at his grandfather like, don't come in here and tell me I can't do this. Like, that was a quick turnaround. Otto should have seen then that something was going to happen, because you couldn't control the king for a few hours in the throne room. Not going to work. But having Cole as the hand, I don't know. That's going to be interesting, because I think now as the hand, he doesn't have the restrictions on him that he did as the commander of the Knights, of the Kingsguard.
And I don't even know if he has, because he's gonna start making military decisions. Like, dude, when have you ever been in a war or a battle?
He has been in battle. I do remember that, because when Rhaenyra was trying to decide who was going to be her Kingsguard, that was one of the glowing recommendations about Criston Cole, because he was great in battle.
But there's a difference between being a good fighter and being a commander.
Good leader.
A leader. Like Daemon, he actually led men to battle and won a battle. He wasn't just a fighter. He inspired men. He came up with a plan.
Yeah.
I don't see
a good military mind.
I don't see Criston being a good military mind.
Couldn't even protect the air.
If he came up with that stupid plan to send the twin brother in to pretend to
we let me just say this. I think that Cole will probably be decent, not great on the military side. What I would be more concerned with is that being the hand is more than just being a military leader. You're doing day-to-day, in and out, mundane, routine business with the small council. He may have stood and watched and listened over the years, but that doesn't mean he absorbed anything. I think that the king should be more concerned about whether or not Sir Criston Cole can negotiate with the blacksmiths to make sure that they get paid their money like they asked, or the amount of sheep and goats that they need for the dragons to keep them fed. It's the day-to-day stuff of being the hand that it's going to be taxing to him, not the military. And I think that that's going to bring a lot of hardship on the small folk, because Criston Cole doesn't have the capacity, nor do I think he's willing to take instruction on how to break down the different taxes from different areas, to break down the food ration, the grain, the wheat, the farmers' complaints, the everyday stuff that the hand has to do before they even bring it before the king and the small council.
Not to mention, I can't imagine anybody on the small council is going to be happy with Criston Cole's sudden promotion. I'm just saying.
I get, yeah.
What's his name? Tywin Lannister? You really think he's going to be happy with Criston Cole being the hand of the king? And remember, this hand of the king is someone who openly killed someone at a wedding and never got any repercussions from it. So, yeah, I don't know if I see that working out for too long, but
I think it might be. I understand what Lori's saying. It might be a good short-term thing, but long-term,
And he may decide to give it up because that's not what he wants to do.
He's not.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think he would prefer to be out there fighting and being violent as opposed to sitting in some pretty robes at a table and not really?
No, because
I don't doubt he's gonna go out there and be like, I'm the leader of this, and y'all are gonna do what I say and still be fine.
He already moved into Allison's rooms. He's not gonna move out. He's already packed the suitcase and he's in there. He's good.
That is true. That is true. He was waiting for her.
Yeah. But I don't see him balancing, like Hanako said, I don't see him balancing the politics and trying to manage all these different lords in the court and having to also be helping them make military decisions and still be crispy Cole. I just don't see him being able to juggle all those things.
He can't, and he's not going to, and it's going to be a disaster. And
I don't think in the beginning it's not, but I think eventually it's going to be a problem.
Because you got don't forget, you've also got a couple of maesters up in there. You got, like you said, a couple of lords. You've got the master of coin. You've got all these people who have an equal say in things about how things go. And the king, obviously, I mean, it should be like a stopgap thing. Okay, king, even though you're young, okay, your child just got murdered. How about we put a moratorium on anything rash for, say, 5 days? You know go over here, talk to your wife, who we ignored greatly, I will admit. In fact, look pissed at her. The thing is,
I don't think I would say he looked pissed at her. I think it's one of those things where losing a child is difficult under the best of circumstances. And we already see that those two are not really, they're not like lovey-dovey husband-wife. I mean, granted, Rhaenyra and Daemon aren't either, but we do see that there's that connection there between them. And I don't really see that between Aegon and Helaena. And for it to be so fresh for them, and then for Helaena having to have pretty much witnessed it, I just think it was kind of sort of the same thing. Like Aegon probably didn't know what to say to her or how to react to her.
But if you paid attention, when they were with the body and she looked up, she had a vision. When her and her mother were in the cart and the cart had just stopped or was about to stop, and the floaties things were coming down from when they were tossing the flowers, and she looked up and her face changed, she had a vision. So when he came, I'm sure that's what that was.
Similar with Rhaenyra in a few scenes
later. But the thing is that when she came back, when he looked at her and he didn't say anything, what did she do? She sort of nodded to herself, picked up her skirts and scurried up like, okay, that was expected. I knew that was going to happen. And she just goes on about her way. We never see for the rest of the episode. I think she had a vision. I think that she probably knew that this is the reaction. So she's going to go over and go back to her dreaming. I don't think that she's upset about the fact that he may be upset with her that their child is dead. I think she's more upset about the fact that he doesn't know how to comfort her. And she knows that no matter what, he probably isn't going to comfort her. So, yeah.
And the brother who could comfort her is being comforted by someone else.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, that's a good segue.
Yeah. Let's talk about Aemon for a minute. Because one, we find out the reason why he wasn't in the castle at the time of all of this going on. That's because he was with, I guess he has a favorite. I'm gonna look at her because they kind of focused on her in this episode. She's gonna be this show's version of Rose, like Game of Thrones. She was the one whore that everybody went to, that everybody gave their confidences to, and she was like a favorite. And she used that kind of similar to what Mysaria says she does, but this particular one is with Aemon, and apparently Aemon was with her the night that they came for him. And you see him in this scene, and he is acting very vulnerable. He is acting not necessarily childish, but it's giving like he's searching for comfort, maternal comfort, in a way that he can't get from Alicent.
Very maternal comfort.
Yeah. And I mean,
and he looks weak and starving for love, attention, and food.
Well, I just think that's just Ewan Mitchell. I think he's just tall and skinny and lanky anyway.
Yeah, but just the way they have positioned him and stuff, it just makes it look like he's just, when I say starved, like starved for everything.
Yeah, he reminded
like starved for everything. Nourishment is sometimes it's more than food, but like everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, even there, he was making,
you feel bad for him.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, yeah, because he was making his own confessions there. He was like, I do feel bad about that business with Luke. I didn't mean to do it. I just lose my temper sometimes, and but I didn't mean for him to die. I didn't mean to kill him. And she tells him, she was like, just to remind you that when princes lose their temper, other people pay the price. The small folk like me.
Yeah, like me.
But yeah, I think it's and he also feels kind of flattered. He was like, I'm actually flattered that he sent people to murder me in my bed. That means he's scared of me. I was like, dude.
I was like, I said it out loud.
I do. He's not scared of you. He's
in your dreams, little boy.
Want it. Right.
Right. In your dreams, little boy.
I always go back to that banquet when he looked at him like, yeah, I want you to try it.
This ain't what you want.
Daemon was like, yeah.
You don't want that smoke. Just let that go. Let that go. But it does make you look at him in a totally different way.
Totally. It does. Because you get to see him like completely vulnerable.
Yeah.
For the first time, because for the first time since they were kids. And he even tells her, he was like, they used to bully me when I was a child because I was different. And I was like, yeah, this is so different from what we've seen, because ever since he stole, and I am going to say stole, ever since he stole Vhagar, his personality has been different. And so to see him like
Vhagar gave him the
yeah.
And he doesn't
they form.
I know, but he really doesn't have it though. Yeah. It's like he's hiding. He's still that little boy that's being bullied.
Yeah. But I mean, most people who grow up the way that he did, like they're strong, they're good fighters. If they've been bullied, that's kind of how it is. Like, you think they've overcome it, but a lot of times they're still holding on to that, and that's kind of what's fueling them to be this person. Because and
he doesn't have the mother to who could have kind of took care of that along the way.
And she wouldn't
again. She's doing the best that she can because she doesn't know really better.
No, with him she's not, because she's angry because she feels like he's the one that started all of this. By killing
but I'm talking about even from the beginning. Like, she didn't do the things she needed to do. Like, you knew they were picking on them. Like, you didn't do some things that you needed to do, but you really didn't know how to do that. You just know about setting out a goal and accomplishing that goal.
Yeah, I know.
So,
but okay, I'm gonna move away from the royal family. I need to talk about Alan and Adam of Hull, because I think it's very interesting. We were talking about this last week about whether or not Alan and Adam were bastards of Corlys's. So after our discussion, I went to go look it up, and apparently in the books, it is not known whether or not they are bastards of Corlys's or Laenor's. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I think for the purposes of the show, just looking at the ages, I think they're going to make it that they are Corlys's bastards. And even with the conversation with the brothers, when Adam is talking to Alan about, oh, I heard Lord Corlys commended you for saving his life. And he was like, are you going to sail with him when he takes his ship back out? It was like, he hasn't asked, and I really don't want the offer. And Adam is the one who's like, look, this is a way for you to come up. This is a way for you to get your glory. And he was like, I really don't want all of that. He was like, but brother, he owes you. He owes us. And that's all they say. And I was like, yep, that's what they're about to do. They're about to make this about them being his bastards. But also, Anthony, I think your observation last week that we still have dragons that need riders. When you see later on in the episode, Adam is looking in the sky because there's a dragon flying. Mm-hmm.
Sea smoke.
Yes, yeah.
That was
that sea smoke or was that Moon Dancer?
That was sea smoke.
Ah, okay. And sea smoke was Laenor's dragon, right? Okay. Yeah. So you see him sitting there and he's looking in the air and he's looking at the dragon. I said, yeah, that's what they're about to do. They're gonna pull that whole
See, I had forgotten about sea smoke, because I know there's one wild dragon and then there's Jaehaerys' dragon that won't come out, and then there's sea smoke, and there might be one other one that's around.
I think one of the dragons' name is Vermithor or Vernithor.
Vermithor. That's that was Jaehaerys' dragon.
Okay.
Still in mourning.
Okay.
for Jaehaerys.
And wasn't there? Maybe that dragon is already gone. Wasn't there a dragon called Balerion?
That was Aegon. That Balerion is dead.
Okay. Remember.
That was Aegon, the first dragon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I couldn't remember.
I think that from what I remember, there's Sheep Stealer is one of the wild dragons, because it goes in
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I do think I remember that one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I think when they were talking about him in one of the council meetings last year, they talked about, there's like 2 wild dragons, and then Sea Smoke didn't have a rider, and then Vermithor, and that was when Daemon went down to see Vermithor.
Right. Now, I have a question. If Sea Smoke does not have a rider, granted, in the books, Laenor died, but in the show, we see that he didn't die. He just kind of ran off with his lover to go live elsewhere. Will Sea Smoke take another dragon, since technically speaking, he's still bonded to Laenor?
Probably.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it would still feel that it would probably be, I'm just assuming because of how the bond might work, but I would think that it would know that Laenor doesn't want him anymore. You understand what I'm saying? And so, but then again, who knows how Valyrian magic works?
Right.
So it could be one of those things where this is just a new person and they can bond with them. Because remember, even in Game of Thrones, whatchamacallit let Jon ride him. So,
but I think that's because he sensed the Targaryen blood in Jon.
Right, and that's the same thing with that's going to be with Adam.
But
they're Valyrian. They're still Valyrian. They're Valyrian blood.
Yeah, I get that. But Rhaegal and Viserion did not have riders, so it would have made sense for him to not necessarily bond with Jon, but to allow him to get close enough to touch him and to ride him, because he didn't have a prior rider that he was.
Oh no, I was talking about when he was touching whatchamacallit, dragon.
Drogon.
Yeah, when he was touching Drogon.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's going to be interesting to see how this is going to work, but that's a good question. Like, will Sea Smoke acknowledge him? Probably so. I'm assuming,
especially if it's been as long as it's been.
Right.
Yeah. So he probably realizes Laenor. Maybe he doesn't feel that Laenor is dead or alive, but he can probably feel that Laenor is elsewhere and probably happy. So he's probably like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna leave him alone. Find me a new rider, maybe.
Yeah. So. And remember what Tyrion said. People don't understand that the dragons are a lot smarter.
Yeah, they are.
Than people you think they are.
Yeah.
So Sea Smoke ain't stupid.
So you probably know that he's gone and he's not coming back. So I'm willing to take on another ride.
Right. Okay. There's two other points that I want to talk about quick. Well, one of them might not be as quick, but the first one, let's talk about Mysaria a little bit, because Daemon, during their argument, he tells Rhaenyra that Mysaria gave him the names of two people who could help him with his task of killing Aemon. And this is where the argument comes in, because she was like, okay, so what were they supposed to do if they couldn't find Aemon? And he never really clearly answers that question. And he didn't answer it clearly in the last episode when they asked him, so if we can't find Aemon, what do we do? You know, but she has Mysaria brought to her, and she starts asking her questions about her role. She was like, I know you were the the master of whispers, and you did this, and you worked with the high towers. And she starts circling her, and then she kind of looks, and again with the facial expressions, her face changes ever so slightly, but it's enough for her to look Mysaria up and down, and then a little bit of recognition, and then what is it? They're having the discussion about Daemon, because she says the information I gave him was the price he said I had to pay for my freedom. And she said, just ask him. And Rhaenyra was like, I can't, he's gone. Oh, is he coming back? I don't know. He could be gone a week. He could be gone forever. Who knows? That's how Daemon, or I think Mysaria says, yeah, that's kind of what he does. And when she said that, that was the first time she turned and looked at Rhaenyra face to face. And Rhaenyra is looking at her like, okay, you sound like somebody who's mighty familiar with him. And then it dawns on her. She was like, wait, he said he was going to marry you. He said you were pregnant. And she was like, yeah, not everybody enjoyed that, Jess, because she was the one who was like, why are you telling folks I'm pregnant? I'm having nobody's baby. But she asked Rhaenyra to let her go, and Rhaenyra was like, I don't think that would be in my best interest, because you are too valuable an asset. But then later on, she has a change of heart and she decides to let her go. But she was like, I'm not dumb. I'm not gonna just set you free nilly-willy. You're gonna go get on this boat that's gonna take you to Myr through Pentos. So you're gonna go far away from here. Probably because she was like, I don't want you anywhere near my husband. But also at the same time, if you are a person who works for money, who works with secrets, I don't need you here, because you might betray me. You might lead those folks to my door, whatever. But when Mysaria is getting ready to leave and board the boat, she happens to recognize Sir Eric, who, again, at the urging of Kristen Cole, has come to Dragonstone to try to infiltrate and kill Rhaenyra. So she tells the person who's leading her to the boat, a moment, please, and she turns around. And we never see her again after that in this episode. But I have a feeling, and if I remember correctly in the books, I do believe she becomes like one of Rhaenyra's greatest assets in this whole.
Yes. Okay.
It's like,
yeah, because I believe she went and told, because she was like, nah, I'm not going to sit here and let this happen.
Yeah, I think she probably told too late, because at this point, Eric has already duped several of the soldiers. He's standing guard in front of Rhaenyra's room as she's trying to sleep. And he comes in the room and gets ready to attack her, not realizing that there's a witness in the room, because Rhaenyra's handmaiden is in there. But I think she probably did turn around. She's probably going to come and tell Rhaenyra, hey, this dude is here, before she realizes that both of the twins are dead. But yeah, I think she's going to come back and she's going to be like, okay, you know what? Yeah, let me go ahead and get in this and just see what I can do here. But it's going to be interesting if Daemon does come back to see his wife and his former lover working together. I don't know how he's gonna react to that. Because again, I feel like he really did love Massaria, just never said it to her because one, he probably knew he was never going to be allowed to marry her, even though he claimed he was going to. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. Okay, we got to talk about the twins because I knew this fight was coming. It was still hard to watch because again, these two twins, both part of the Kingsguard, both very loyal, very much they're playing by the books. And Sir Eric even says that to Kristen Cole when Kristen suggests, okay, yeah, you go to Dragonstone and you kill Rhaenyra in her own home. And he was like, how am I supposed to do that? You got a twin that's there. You can go in disguised as him and do it. And he said, look, my brother and I, for all his faults leaving us, he was like, we were not taught to deal in treachery and tricks and lies. We were taught to be loyal and just. And this doesn't really sit well with him. And he even tells Kristen Cole, he was like, you are sending me to my death. And Kristen's like, or to glory. I'm like, nobody cares about that glory shit but you.
You. Right.
Like Sir Eric and Sir Eric, both of them, I feel like as soldiers are above reproach because you've never seen them do anything that called into question their loyalty or their character. That's only true. Difference is they are both sworn to protect the royal family. One chose to protect one side, the other chose to protect the other side. And there's really no fault in that. They're not sitting here listening to all the machinations and all this other stuff and who is right and who is wrong or whatever. No, they were told and taught to defend the royal family, and they decided to do what they thought was just. But no, you send this twin to Dragonstone. He infiltrates, almost kills Rhaenyra, but I think, I don't know if, wait a minute. Did the handmaiden, did she leave out before Sir Eric came back in?
I think whatchamacallit got word. I think Masera actually did get word.
She
did. To them. Because he came running in like
he did.
Like he knew
something was up.
Okay.
And then he told the
handmaid
to go get
Rhaenyra
told her to.
Yeah, she told her to go.
She said, go get whatchamacallit. I can't think of his name, but
Sir Lantern or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I was trying to remember because I was like, did she send the handmaiden before or after Sir Eric came in? But yeah, Eric came in already knowing. And I was like, here we go with the fight. So of course they're fighting. And even Sir Eric, when he comes in and he draws his sword at Rhaenyra, he says, forgive me, I don't want to do this. But of course, he's been told by his leader, who is representative of the king. So in his mind, this is what the king has ordered. You know what I'm saying? And also, I have to do this in order to prove my loyalty to the king because Sir Kristen is sitting there spewing all these accusations, trying to cover his own ass, which I die a horrible death, please. But they get to fighting, and eventually Sir Eric bests Sir Eric, kills him, and then tells Rhaenyra, forgive me, and falls on his own sword because he cannot live with the fact that he killed his twin, even though he was doing it for a just cause. When I say I was so hurt because I knew it was coming I know about the fight. It goes down as like one of the. It's a well-known fight told throughout Westerosi history. But still, that didn't make it any easier to watch.
No.
It should have been Kristen Cole on the end of that sword. It should have been him.
We're seeing a lot of people suffer and die unnecessarily.
And this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Because you know shit's about to pop off some more now that you've sent someone to Dragonstone to try to kill Rhaenyra. It's about to be a back and forth thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you killed my this. I'm gonna kill your this. Okay, you just attempted my life. Okay, I'm about to go attempt your life. It's about to be a huge mess.
Yeah. And the thing is, it is obvious. Like, it's his twin brother. So someone had to order him, and he's a Kingsguard. Someone had to order him to go do it.
Right.
It wasn't like a random rat catcher off the street.
Right, and you don't know who could have done it.
Right.
But here you
know it's obvious.
Yeah. Yep.
You just don't know it was Cole. You just thinking it's Otto or Allison
Otto or Aegon.
The king.
Yeah. Yeah. So, or the council just thought this was something to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now you just, again.
My thing is, this is only episode 2. This is only episode 2.
But I will say this, that plan to send Eric and the resulting death of both soldiers, that might contribute to the short-lived hand career of Kristen Cole. Because when word gets back that failed, Aegon is probably going to think, oh, my grandfather was right. That was a stupid plan.
Kristen Cole is going to say, oh, well, Eric didn't do what he was supposed to do. He fucked up somehow. Like, it was a foolproof plan.
Here's my thing. You want to sit here and talk about, are you scared to go alone? Is this fear? I don't see your ass trying to go to Dragonstone. You don't have the guts to do it.
But the other problem with King Aegon is he has to stay with his decision. Mm-hmm. Like, he's the one that said this was a great plan. This plan was good enough for me to fire Otto as my hand and hire Kristen Cole. Mm-hmm. He's got to stick to it. You can't now turn around and be like, oh yeah, that was a dumb plan.
It was a dumb plan.
But he didn't say that at the time.
I could have helped you out. It was a dumb plan.
He went along with it.
But I mean, it could have been. So this is another reason why it was a dumb plan. In theory, it could have worked. But you have not seen your brother since he left King's Landing. Eric could have cut his hair. He could have shaved his beard off. You don't know what your brother looks like right now. Now, granted, y'all are twins. I know twins have this, like, they have this telepathy thing where they can speak or feel each other. I mean, we saw it when Eric walked past Eric in the hallway and he kind of stopped and turned around like, I feel something there. He knew something was kind of off, but he didn't know what it was, because why would he think his brother is on Dragonstone? No reason. You know, especially after what happened in King's Landing. It's not like Eric is going to come and be like, oh, I changed my mind. I want to serve Rhaenyra now. No, that would be too suspect. But you sent this man to Dragonstone, not knowing anything about the person you wanted him to.
He even says, we're not the same. We're not one soul and two bodies. Like, we're not the same. They're going to know it's not him. Not if you play your cards right. Come on, guys.
When I say I hate this man so much, the white cloak is a symbol of our purity, our fidelity. You have none of either. But you got the nerve. Who I want this man to die a horrible death.
He's going to go back to bed. A bed.
And she said that Olivia Colman said that they actually filmed a longer sex scene that was more animalistic and more carnal, and they cut it. I'm like, yeah,
we don't need it.
We don't need it, but I think what we see of the two characters at the end, and again, a lot of people are like, oh, she just wanted to go be with Chris Nicole instead of comforting her kids. Like I said, people deal with grief in different ways. Both of them are feeling grief, because you see it when the staff are taking down Jaehaerys's crib and the guy walks out and he has the bloody mattress in his hand. You saw Cole turn away, like he can't look at it. There's immense guilt there, but also I think there's the grief. And for a lot of people, they deal with their grief physically. We see it in movies all the time. People who are grieving the loss of somebody, or they're dealing with a traumatic experience. A lot of them turn to sex, and it's not necessarily romantic sex or whatever. It's just to get your mind off of what's going on. And we know they both have some guilt, because y'all were doing something, one, that y'all weren't supposed to do. And then two, for Kristen, what was it that he said to her when she came out and said, who did you tell? And he was like, what do you think I am? And she said, a person looking for absolution. He says, there is none to be found for what I've done.
Yeah.
That could be him not being on his post. That could be him sleeping around with Alicent, because he didn't want to do it with Rhaenyra.
No,
and now he's doing it with Alicent. But I think they've been bosom buddies for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I think.
And I think also that Rhaenyra broke his heart, so he just didn't get over it.
Yeah.
But it's time to get over it.
He's still trying to find a way to punish her.
Yeah. For breaking.
You know what that just reminded me of? He hasn't gotten over her. I'm thinking about that song, that verse that Ashanti did last year after the what's his name? His interview came out. The guy who used to be Irv Gotti. He did an interview where he was talking about Ashanti and how they was together, and she left him for Nelly, and he's still bitter about it. And I think a couple of weeks after that, she featured on a song with someone else, and she did a rap where she talks about that situation. She was like, look, it's giving stressed, it's giving obsessed. It's been 20 years, let it go. And that's what that just made me think about. Dude, Rhaenyra has been so over you. She has been gone forever. At this point, that was another lifetime ago.
It was.
Let it go. And again, I can understand, because if he was really keeping his vows up until Viserys died, which I don't think that him and Alicent had this kind of relationship before Viserys died. I don't think Alicent would have taken that chance. But for her, Viserys is the only sex she's had ever in her life. For him, Rhaenyra was the only sex he had. So at this point, she's needing and wanting. He's the only person that she trusts. So it's kind of natural that they will fall in together. But it's like, dude, what is it that she keeps telling her dad? I'm the one that sinned. Maybe the gods are punishing me for the things I've done. If that's what you really feel, then you need to stop. And I realize that's hard to do sometimes when it comes to physical relationships, but your grandchild just got his head cut off with a dagger. If you feel like that's the result of your sin, close your fucking legs. Seriously.
True that.
Because if you're going to keep going, and you think this is punishment by the gods, what make you think the gods have stopped?
That's true. And like you moved in with him. So I mean, or he moved in.
He moved in.
Did he really though? I thought that was
I don't know. We're just
okay.
We're just saying.
He
was already sitting on the bed about partially dressed. So I'm assuming he's like now taking ownership of this relationship.
Well, I mean,
his hands, he's not bound by the same.
Right. Oh, that's what I said earlier. So,
party over here. He's ready to get loose.
Now, I don't know how that's gonna I don't know if that's something they're still gonna be quiet about, or if it's something they're gonna, I don't think they're gonna be in the open with that. But again, if Larys knows, he's gonna use that information to his advantage. He might be going to Cole and be like, okay, look, I know you sleeping with her. I just need the feet like every other day. That's it. I need to get my rocks off too. But if I can't do that, then I'm going to tell on y'all. Because if he knows and something is said and it's discovered that, oh, Sir Criston Cole was doing this before he became the Hand. He was doing this as the commander of the Kingsguard. He's not only banished, won't they kill him for that? For consorting with the queen or Queen Dowager?
Breaking his vows, they'll just send him to the wall.
Oh, okay.
But they don't know when they started a relationship. We could have started a relationship when I became the Hand.
Yeah, true.
Not if Larys knows, because
he don't have proof. Okay, there's no proof.
Larys, you think he doesn't have proof?
There's no proof. Okay?
Oh yeah, no, I think Larys
you believe your lie. I don't know what y'all talking about. Okay, just like how you don't know how my feet look. You want to come for me?
No,
he ain't never touched her.
He knows what my toes look like,
but he hasn't touched her.
He has never touched.
And I know what you look like.
He has not. He has not soiled.
He has a birthmark. How do I know that?
All he's seen is her ankles.
And I've seen a birthmark on his upper thigh. How do I know?
No, because he has the little long shirt on. I'm pretty sure he's not.
No, I saw when he cleaned himself.
I can't.
So don't come for me.
I don't even know where to go from there. Oh, okay. So since it's on in the background, let's talk about the Smith real quick, because I had to go
hammer.
Yes, I had to go look him up. I was like, they're showing him for a reason. He's going to be important.
They are. Why are they showing him?
I'm not gonna spoil it for the non-book readers. He's gonna be very important in this Dance of Dragons.
Oh yeah, look at the color of his hair. Come on now.
But true that. I figure that.
But is that Targaryen silver or is that old man gray? I'm just.
Why else are we following this freaking blacksmith around
with this long? I retired Santa Claus.
Come on.
It's given that he has
his hair is styled the same way as Viserys.
He really was. So that's why it's given like, who is he related to? Like,
I'm just saying, everybody who is going to be important in this Dance of Dragons is not all going to be Targaryens and Valerians, and there's going to be some folks that's not related to them.
Nice try, Nice try. Lies.
I'm just saying.
Getting on the dragon.
Because Daemon, but we don't know Daemon or Daemon or whatever his name is, he's a Targaryen. He's gonna come and probably get on the dragon too.
Who, Daemon?
Daemon.
Yeah, that I can probably see. But this other guy, I mean, he's a smith. He could be making weapons for the greens and then decide, oh no, I'm going to the blacks. Or
come on,
I'm just saying,
you're trying to help that out.
Nice.
What kind of weapons? I mean, dragon killing weapons. That's the only thing that will make sense.
Yeah, dragon, I mean, they have the scorpions back then.
Look at the color of his hair. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's what, but that's what I'm saying.
But she's saying he could be making weapons.
He's already making the scorpions. The scorpions are being made already. They have them already.
Other weapons.
Why are we following this dude around? We followed the rat catcher around for a reason, didn't we?
The rat catcher wasn't a dragon rider though, so
no, but he's showing us slay the dragon. So
hey, so it's something dealing with the dragon.
With the dragon.
Yeah.
Hugh Hammer. That means he's a bastard. He has a bastard name.
Oh, is that what? I don't know all the bastard names. So
yeah, it's usually related to either location or they'll take a name related to their profession.
Oh, okay. See,
like Adam and Alan and Alan and Adam of Hull. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Jon Snow.
Well, yeah.
And what was Ramsay Snow?
Oh yeah, Ramsay Snow, Ilaria Sand. Mm-hmm. I think those are the only ones that I remember.
Yeah, and then the Blackfires, but we don't get to them yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, Corlys and Rhaenys having pillow talk. That was fun to watch.
Oh, I'm so happy. I wasn't sure if, she still liked him. Because the last time we really saw them together, she was pissed off.
Yeah, so because he left for 6 years.
Right. So I was assuming she's in war gear mode. Like, I don't need him. But it was just so sweet to see them together.
Mm-hmm. And then also, again, proclaiming their support for Rhaenyra. Mm-hmm. But she has a lot of insight on how Daemon is feeling because she's like, look, I was passed over for the crown too. I know how hard that is to get over. So let Daemon do what he needs to do, but he needs to go capture Harrenhal so she can forgive him. But yeah, that was nice. I like when they have those little nice moments in between an episode that has a lot of drama, because sometimes you just got to catch your breath. You can't be breaking our hearts the whole episode. That just won't do. You got to give us a little breathing room and then break our hearts again with stuff like twins killing each other. Just whatever. Anyway, I think we have discussed everything. You guys have any final thoughts?
This is only the second episode.
This is only the second
episode. And have we covered everybody?
Yeah, pick a character. We cover everyone.
Pick a character.
I think so. I started to take notes tonight and I got so engrossed with rewatching it. And I was like, oh, I haven't written anything down. Because I always think of stuff that I wanted to, like specific things that come to my mind, but I'm always in somewhere where I can't write it down. And I just don't think, I still don't think to like voice record on my phone. Like, oh, okay, I want to make sure I mention this. So I'm going to get better about that. But yeah, I think we hit all the high notes. I just think.
Oh, yeah, I do have a shout out. I have a shout out to the people in the castle who had to be awakened in the middle of the night and don't have no idea why they are being, pushed out of their homes and dragged down the steps to God knows where for what reason. Like, to be awakened and not know what is happening. Like, you really think, okay, here we go. Here's the war. Like, dragons are coming. It's about to burn the building down type of thing. And it wasn't. So I just felt, I was like, that was a lot to get all those people out of their homes, out of their rooms. I mean, their rooms. And then I'm like, well, who is sleeping in this castle? Like, how many people in here? It could have been anybody who came and killed this little boy.
But that was probably all
that's what the small council was saying. It really could have been
anybody. Like, these were random people coming out of rooms.
That might have been the castle staff, though. All of those people might have been staff.
Yeah, there's a lot of staff. That's what I'm saying. It could have been anybody.
And then the court is probably there too.
Yep, so. The court is there.
All of those people, but I see y'all had enough soldiers for that.
You did, and coverage.
Oh, and one other thing. Let's talk about these soldiers. You've already shown. I won't even say incompetence, because it's not the soldiers' fault if they weren't assigned to guard the heir and the queen. But here y'all are on the funeral march, the cart gets stuck. All of the soldiers go to try to move this cart, and the crowd start coming in, trying to touch Queen Helaena. This woman is already going through the absolute worst day of her life. And once again, there's nobody protecting them. I was like, what are y'all doing?
It starts at the top. It starts at the top. If you got incompetence in your leadership, what happens to the organization?
I'm gonna say it again, and I know I said it last episode. I feel so bad for Helaena because she doesn't deserve any of this shit. Even Rhaenyra was like, y'all think I would do this to Helaena of all people? Like, if it's one person in that family I feel like she likes, it's her sister. Because Helaena is just kind of stuck because of who she was born to and what she was born as. She's stuck in this game. She doesn't want to be part of this. I just feel so bad for her because I know things are about to get worse. And I'm just, you don't have the right support. Your husband can't even look at you. Your mama is trying to hold herself together. And then you come into the room to tell her about the funeral. And you think this is a good time to say, well, Helaena, what you saw in my room last night when you came in, Helaena was like, this is for my boy here. She was like, oh.
Right. That's another thing of why people are having a hard time with her parents' excuse, because that's what you want to go with. You better off just pretending like it didn't happen until the girl brings it up. Like, play ignorant.
Right.
I just feel bad because they can't really give her lines because she's a walking spoiler. She is.
Right, because everything she says is like has a vision attached to it. Yeah. Because she says something, you're gonna sit there and try and figure out like, what did she say? What does she mean? What does this mean? Because everything that she says, if you go back and look at the end of the episodes that she says it in,
sounds true.
She predicted something that happened. But I just, again, out of everybody on Team Green, I feel bad for Helaena and Helaena only. And her other baby. And her other baby.
I can't say she on Team Green because I don't think she chose a side.
Well, I mean, a side was chosen for her. Unfortunately, I mean, she can't one publicly say that she would support Rhaenyra, especially if people are feeding it into her ear that Rhaenyra was the one who had her son murdered, which I'm going to be honest, I don't think Helaena believes that. I think
I think she already, the thing about her is she has visions and she has visions all the time.
Yeah.
She has a hard time distinguishing reality from her visions.
Yeah.
So she's seen all of this. She knows what's happening. Sometimes she can articulate it, sometimes she can't.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she knows it was Daemon. She can't articulate that, but
let's be honest. I think they all know it wasn't really Rhaenyra who did this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean they even say it in the small council. I'm
just saying. Yeah. They know who.
Yeah, because they even talk about it in the small council when Otto was like, it may not matter who did it, and Tywin Lannister was like, you mean to blame Rhaenyra? Like, oh yeah, this is a good way to get people to come to our side. Just blame her, whether she did it or not.
I mean, in general, they know it was her side who did it. It's just Allison need to understand, like, I know she personally didn't order the hit on this little boy.
I think Allison,
I think it was just a casualty of war.
I think Allison knows, because when they're having that discussion and they're talking about Rhaenyra, the look on her face, she was looking like Rhaenyra would not do this. Like, no matter what, I don't think Rhaenyra would do this. I think Allison knows the truth, but
she loves kids. She's not gonna do this.
Yeah, but also that's her family. You know what I'm saying? I don't think she would, especially not to a little one. to Aemon, maybe. Aemon killed
her
son.
that's like we get that. We know it's
because he killed her son, and she might feel justified. She might feel Rhaenyra is justified for that. The rest, they can all die. So the only other thing I think I need to say about this episode is rest in peace to Viserys's model of King's Landing, because Aegon sure told the shit out of that.
Yeah. Devastation. Because he worked hard on that.
He did for years.
I mean, he probably couldn't even hold the pieces anymore.
But you know what? I think even though he was doing it out of anger because of what happened to his son, I think that probably was a way for him to get that reminder of Viserys out of his room and to just kind of maybe distance himself from who Viserys was, especially after Otto, he's probably like, yeah, I'm glad I tore that thing up. Now it can just get out of here. I don't have to be reminded of it. I don't have to be reminded of my grandfather's words.
I don't have this old man stuff in my room.
Yep.
So, rest in peace.
Pieces.
And on that note, that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.